Okay.
24. I'm Gene, and welcome to Hanging with Uncle. Um, I've been saving this topic, although you've heard me talk about it frequently. I've been saving this topic for about this time because the elections are coming up in 5 months. So any window for a special election is closed. Because remember, if you have a vacancy in the House of Representatives within 6 months of an election, there's no special election to fill that seat, which is why what Ken Buck did was so funny because he resigned within that 6 month period, I think like the day before, just shrinking that majority to what is now one as far as voting and what's needed to pass legislation. But anyway, today I want to take a full deep dive into how to make the wisest choice when it comes to casting your vote. Okay? Um, it's do you decide based on a party? Because if that's the case, I can't complain about one party when the other party is guilty of doing the same thing. Okay? So, for example, uh, it's already been proven that convicted felon Donald Trump has taken in over $8 million dollars during his presidency, which is a violation of the Emoluments Clause. But he's supposed to be okay with getting away with that, but it's okay for a Democrat Senator, Bob Menendez, on trial right now for bribery. We have to hold him accountable. It has to be the same. It can't be heads I win, tails you lose. So we're going to talk about how to make your vote uh, most important. And to do that, we have to bring our man on the street in. So, Brent, welcome to the show.
Hey, Gene. Thanks for having me again, brother.
You're
Yeah,
welcome,
it's going to be
man.
a great show. And that we did a little show about this about a year ago, but we knew we're going to have to step up our effort to educate people come the election cycle. And
Right.
it's gearing up right now. It's in full swing. So, yeah, you got a lot of different choices you can make. You could be a Democrat, a Republican, or a no party preference. I'm
And,
one in the belief of all party, all the time preference, but unfortunately, that's not on the ballot. So
well, and
let's
that's
go
why
ahead.
I wanted to talk about that because, as you well know, I keep it no secret, I am registered to vote no party preference. And that's because I don't look at a party. That would make me like I think part of a cult if I base things based on my tribe, my team, my party. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I look at the issues. That is the meat and potatoes of where the importance of your vote counts. Um, for example, let's say you want public education restored in funding and loopholes taken away from corporations to pay their fair share in taxes. Um, who are you going to vote for? It's not based on a party. So to me, again, I look at the candidate's platform. Who supports Social Security? Who supports cutting Social Security? I mean, what do you think, Brent?
Yeah, I mean, you can look at a good way to kind of judge a politician is to understand what his platform was as he was trying to run for office, and then what his voting record was on on the issues, really. So certain states have a tendency to maybe be more red or blue. Then you notice there's certain candidates that are more about the issues more, and they might buck their parties at time for common sense. It's called, and that's when I try to look at everything. I try to get as much information as possible because information is power. So by me understanding not only what they promise, but what they deliver is how I decide whether I'm going to run or I'm going to go ahead and re-vote for them in the future. It's not about as much as your what you tell me, it's your integrity. And integrity you kind of define over a course a period of time. So people that are wishy-washy, that don't know what the heck they're doing, I don't need to vote for those people.
So, I'm
I mean,
glad you brought that up because it reminds me of the state of Texas, right? It seems like whenever it gets too hot, the power grid fails. If it gets too cold and the lines are full of ice or snow, the power grid fails. And what do you always hear Greg Abbott talking about? It's the failure of Joe Biden or whatever Democrat is in office. But if you, again, know your civics, you understand under the 10th Amendment that Texas has the right to govern itself. That's why you have a governor in your own state house, full of House members and state senators. And for over 30 years, Republicans have been in control of the state of Texas. Why are they blaming somebody else? You have the power in your hand, control of the state. Why are you blaming somebody for your own failure? So that's why when I hear that kind of stuff, I know you're just a hypocrite and you want to blame and point finger instead of actually engaging in policy that's going to result in a benefit for society.
Yeah, I looked at Texas for a little bit. So you got issues there. I bet you had Democrats and Republicans, but mainly it's Republican controlled state. But when I look at Texas, I look at them a little bit differently. I look at them as more of a industrialist state, a hype state more. I mean there's a lot of good things that happen there, but energy controls so much of the game there. And if politicians could be bought, and they are being bought, right?
Which they
It
are.
doesn't matter. It seems like, huh?
I said,
I'm
which
sorry,
they
what you?
are. Yeah, they are being bought.
So when you look at that energy thing there, I mean, there's a lot of strange things that happen with that grid.
Okay.
So, and because of a weird law with, actually, this is kind of strange. Because of a weird law with Texas, if the grid goes down, you're capped on the amount of money in Texas that your bill would go up because of that. Even though it's a
Exponentially.
really weak, yeah. Now they cap it there, but guess what? There's other places that are buying into that grid. So Oklahoma, you're actually not protected. So now if you're using energy from the Texas grid, which there's three grids in the country, you're actually getting charged more because of Texas bad policy.
Texas
So
has
that's
its
why when
own
you really
grid. They're not part of the other
exactly,
states. They are on their own grid. They control it themselves, which is what I'm saying. They're
and
exercising
they're
control of
trying to
their own
expand it,
state. Why are they blaming somebody else for their issues?
and they're making money off it. Not only that, when Texas got when all that stuff was going on with the energy crisis in Europe, right when the war started, last summer got really bad. There was explosions at liquefied,
I remember that.
gas company. Yeah, do you
Yeah.
remember that? All of a sudden there was explosions down there, and it caused the price to skyrocket. It was really strange the explosions happening because there wasn't much information about it.
It was
So a lot of
spontaneous
people don't
combustion.
understand. Yeah, InfraGard. So InfraGard's supposed to be this shell company, basically, that's supposed to protect our infrastructure. The U.S. Department of Energy has something to do with that. The DOE. There's a few companies, but no one actually takes accountability for it fully. They just had advisory boards. The same thing with the
Yeah.
Texas grid system. It's
And
an advisory board.
the reason that the people of the state of Texas, citizens, voters, constituents, pay more is because they're too stubborn to accept federal funds to improve the quality of their grid.
Well, they do actually. They do accept some of the funds. I don't know. So, are you saying they didn't accept the infrastructure funding when Biden passed that one in 2000, what, 22 or 23?
I have not heard any news whatsoever about any infrastructure money being spent in the state of Texas. If you have information, please enlighten me.
No. So that's the thing is they got money, brother. So yeah, every state got money from that, and I would think they wouldn't pass on it, even though like some states said, "Oh, we don't need your money." I think the turtle said that. Mitch was saying Kentucky doesn't need your money. I'm like, wait a minute, isn't Kentucky pretty damn broke?
And
You
that's the
sure?
funny
They
thing
don't.
because infrastructure money did go to Kentucky, and McConnell
Yeah,
was
I know.
there at the bridge, announcing where the old bridge, because it was becoming so dilapidated, this is where the new bridge was going to be built. And McConnell was there taking credit for everything, even though he voted no.
You never pass up a photo op, you know.
Right.
Um, yeah, so they are trained in many things to do with it's like kind of funny. The Congress was trained in certain things, how to handle certain situations, and now their training seems to be how to avoid getting in trouble, how to avoid getting caught making insider trading or something like that.
That's
So
another
their
issue.
training
I'm glad
program
you
is
brought that up because that's another issue that Nancy Pelosi, when she was Speaker, refused to bring on the House floor to vote because members of Congress are entitled to make money. There's nothing that prevents them from that, which means, in translation, she's making money hand over fist while she's Speaker of the House. Who's to talk
yep.
about, insider trading? But let somebody like Pete Rose bet on a game of baseball and he's banned from the Hall of Fame for the rest of his life. What's the difference?
Yeah, people don't understand the old money that's involved from, the Republicans and Democrats, they've been switching parties and preferences really since the 60s, it seems like. It's very confusing, but it seems like, where she came out of, Pelosi came out of the Baltimore area, I think, originally.
Yeah,
And
that's where she was
Baltimore is
born.
some really, really old money.
Corrupt.
Really old money.
Yes.
So there's some manipulation there on everything, and she was kind of setting the wheels in motion for certain things and riding the party, saying, "Hey, I'm here for you." But when it came down to it, I don't think that it actually made it worse.
So,
This whole thing is happening, I think, because of we had a couple bad speakers that wasn't giving clear directions,
well, that's
and then it
why.
made a. Go ahead, man.
No, you finish. You're the guest.
Oh, well, I'm not. Yeah, if you give to any type of organization, whether you're a business, uh, an organization helping out people, you got to give clear instructions to people so your organization runs right. Clear messaging from the top down. So if you're messaging saying, "Hey, anything goes. I trust you. Make as much money as you want off the stock market. I know you're good," and then start training people on how to avoid getting caught and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then both parties were doing it. Both
Okay,
both
so
parties were.
here's now.
Go ahead, man.
If you're looking at it from an issues point of view and not an red team, blue team issue, right? I think
Yep.
that if you combine the population, Democrats and Republicans alike, they would love to see a law passed banning Congress from trading stocks. So if people
Yep.
are looking at the issues and not a party, it would be much easier to elect a representative from your district and hopefully over half the districts across the nation. That is how we make a change on what is important to us. So if you want to ban Congress from trading stocks, look in your district, check the Secretary of State's website, see who's running for Congress, or Senate or both and look at the platform of every candidate running, and there'll be somebody on there that will support, banning Congress from trading stocks or whatever issue is important to you. Pay attention to the issues, not a party. Don't become a member of a cult. Brent?
Yeah, Matt, you got to understand that parties want to win. And before parties represented Americans, at different times they represented Americans well. But at times you can see things are spinning out of control. You got to go ahead and get the best possible information. Understand, just because they say they represent you doesn't mean it means they represent your district. Doesn't mean they necessarily represent your values. So you got to go ahead and understand, who you are basically. What are your morals? What are your judgment? And then do these people represent the best of what you want in your town basically? Do you want to be divided? Do you want to go ahead and have everyone be at a tension level that is unbearable for anybody? Really, and that's what's going on. It's like a psyop.
I have
it's
a question.
full-on psyop. Go ahead.
Because things have become generational. I mean, white supremacy has been around forever, and it's going on now, and it always has been. It was at the foundation of this country. We've always had affirmative action. It was just for white people. So, how, in your opinion, do we get that word out to the people other than this to I say this is how we don't become part of a party, because honestly, and I'll tell you something that really bugs me, and tell me if you're tired of it, if you experience it, but it's like I know every day, all day, from now till November, my phone will be blowing up with somebody asking me for money. Now, that is a party. Give me your money. Give me your money. When has the party shown up and say, hey, I have something that I think will benefit you? 100% of the time, it's give me your money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they make promises to go with what they're going to do. But some of those promises just aren't reasonable if you think about the big picture. Like, I think, not to go ahead and target him or anything, but with Trump saying something about how he's not going to go ahead and let you, he's going to waive the taxes on tips for waiters and,
Actually,
have you heard this yet?
That's something Biden is proposing.
Biden's proposing that too? Wait a minute.
Yeah, Biden is proposing that tips.
I heard they're both doing. Yeah, aren't taxable.
Yeah, that's what they're pushing for, and I think Biden is really pushing for that. That's something he wants to get done.
Wow, because he wants. Yeah, but that's a buy-in trick for the election more. I mean, now I'm hearing them both saying that. So that's interesting because I didn't hear about Biden until you mentioned this. So I heard about the thing with Trump, and that's the thing is you got to get the best information available. So I just figured this out now, and you probably just figured it out now too, that they're both kind of targeting that same message. And that actually isn't physically responsible. Let me just say that. I mean, just from
well,
what do you think of that?
I'll say this, man. Is the greater harm the waitress at the local diner not having to claim taxable income on her tips, is that more harmful than somebody like Elon Musk getting billions of dollars in taxes when he pays zero? You know what I'm saying? Because of the way the tax system is set up. Which one do you think hurts more?
Well, I mean, of course, the corporation side, but this is the thing is, two rights don't make a wrong. So you got to correct them both. So you got to understand that with fiscal responsibility, and then ways to manage stuff. I mean, you got to take a long look at it. A lot of people don't
So,
understand. So if you're a waiter, first of all, if you're ever going out to anywhere to eat, you should give your waiter cash. Don't use
okay,
your credit card
here's the
because
problem.
you know.
Here's
Okay,
why I think that law needs to be addressed to have those removed because the government, the IRS, already has factored in, well, if you're working this much, you're going to get this much in tips. And if you don't make it,
yeah.
guess what? Too bad. You still got to pay the tax on that or prove you don't have it. So I think just making it non taxable is easier on the people who need it the most. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it would be easier on them, but do you know what that tax rate is? Most waiters actually get a good waiter will get 15 to 20%. Most of them will get over 20%. So you're getting that on your actually recordable tips. You actually are supposed to make 8%. So if I do $100 in tips, or I make $100 in sales, they expect I made $8 that day,
You think they made
not
that
actually
much during
$20.
COVID? You,
Well, no, but
exactly,
but but
exactly.
but you still have a little wiggle room with that, really.
I
So that's the thing: is how much do you let people get away with?
I don't
Is
think
how
you're.
much
I
do you,
don't think
and that's
you're.
the same thing with businesses or private people. We got to really get to a basic end when we have a structure. There's
Okay.
no,
I
I'm going
don't
to give
think
you
we're letting
this.
them get
I'm going to
away
give
with
this group
anything.
that.
I don't. I don't think we're letting them get away with anything. If anything, I think we're leveling the playing field to help the little guy. And there, in my opinion, I support that every day of the week.
Well, listen, Gene. I understand it why we're doing it now because of what's going on as a whole in our system. But if we actually correct the system, say 10 years, 15 years from now, we got to get on a structured tax rate, and it can't
So,
change. We got to go ahead and be able to manage it correctly, and then have all these things put in place so we actually know how much money is being spent, how many people are in America, what our goal is, set actionable goals according to the best information available. That comes with voting, economics, anything, running
it
a
does.
business.
So here's the thing, man. Um, and I'll tell you another reason why I support legislation like that is because it again, if it can help a family put food on the table with less stress, then I'm for that.
Yeah.
I'm for letting everyone have their daily bread instead of placing an undue burden on a family that doesn't make enough money to keep a roof over their head.
Yeah, that's a bad problem, and it comes from printing a lot of money, basically.
Well, anyway,
We
so
there's a lot of money out in the system, and it creates people, and especially without regulation, for people to get all the money they need at the top, and it really keeps on hurting the people at the bottom. That's
so
why you need balance to everything.
well, and I think again, eliminating their tax is creating less of a burden um, on them, and that's who's complaining about this. Who's the one complaining about somebody else getting a little something? That's what you have to understand, and I promise you, if it goes to litigation, it won't be somebody that doesn't have any money saying this isn't right.
Yeah, I mean it's really hard with litigation. I mean, whenever you're trying to change a law, it's geared for big business and people that have money to actually change the law because of the way the appeal system works, all the different layers of regulation. There's so many different things that could happen for somebody that has the money to buy the system outright, whether it's to change regulations on the regulatory regulatory compliance end, changing the laws itself, or adding confusion in and having them not take the appeal up to a higher court. I mean, it's such a crock of shit right now with the Supreme Court and everything how it's functioning. It's made for the gears of our country to kind of grind to a halt right now.
Well, I think the bottom
So
line.
that's
The bottom line, remember, this show is about how important your vote is.
yeah.
Look, you can contact the candidate in your jurisdiction and ask them how they feel about this issue. They love to interact with you. If you don't hear back from them, that's probably not the candidate you support. Or if it's the candidate that says, yeah, but, that's probably not the candidate you support. But the candidate that will actually answer your question and why is a candidate that at least I would be more than likely to vote for.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're a little bit more organized too. You understand, like, I deal with a lot of different politicians. I try to reach out to them for different reasons, and there's some that are a lot better than others. They have a little layer of professionalism to them. Maybe some of them aren't as professional because they're old school. Maybe they think they're going to keep on getting elected, and they're above the chatter of representing people in their district or representing good ideals of people. So there's some that are better than others, but you don't know until you reach out. You got to test the system to understand it. You can't just let the system. Yeah, you don't let the system manipulate you.
No, I mean,
check out the
seriously,
system,
reach out
understand
to
it.
every single candidate running for election in your jurisdiction and ask questions. That then they'll have an understanding of what is going on in their district and how will they address it. Like, I have one example, and then I'm going to let you close out, with, what's going on with you.
Okay.
But a few years ago, I went to a town hall with Jeff Flake, and you probably heard me say this story, but I just basically asked him a question. Being a PC, and the people I talk to, they want universal health care. Are you going to represent the people, or are you going to represent the health insurance industry? You ask questions like that, and his response to me was, and it took him like 12 seconds to answer. He was just standing there like a deer in headlights look. I support the free markets. And he got rousing boos all over the crowd. So, that is how you ask questions to know if somebody running to be your representative is actually serious about being your representative. But anyway.
Yeah, you definitely got in an interesting position.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He's an ambassador now. But anyway, that's about all the time we have. But Brent, I'll let you finish out with what's going on, with things like Feed the Planet and anything else that's important to you right now. Let the people know what's happening with you and how they can engage.
Yeah, so right now I have this project going. It's a African development project that is getting a little bit bigger. It's not just Africa. We're looking at other areas of the globe to develop infrastructure to help feed the population, to provide peace and prosperity for people, to help out refugees, immigrants moving around to different places throughout the planet because of, say, water scarcity issues, flooding, from storm surges. Whatever's going to happen, you need a plan to go actually to help out. And right now, in the last couple of weeks, I knew a lot of people in the academic community. We've been working with scientists really all over the planet, but there was a publication called the New Prairie Press. It's at Kansas State. It's an academic peer-reviewed paper, and they put out publications, and the publication that Feed the Planet will be in will be Emerging Technologies for Humanity.
That's awesome.
So it'll be a chapter in that book, and it'll help describe the technical end of it, the technologies we're using to improve people's everyday life, and also ways to go ahead and better uh, humanity through technology. You know, a lot of people look at AI and information of technology, different things, and they are kind of threatened by it because they don't understand it. You hear a lot of these bad things, but there's a lot of actually great things that you could accomplish with tech. Tech, you just got to figure out the proper way to use it.
Yeah.
Have regulations and laws set in place to ensure that it's being developed in an ethical way, and that it's actually going to help out people with the intent of what they're advertising. The same thing as a politician, right?
Right.
You gotta make sure that you're gonna utilize it for the right purpose. So when I started getting involved with a few people, I knew I had to get more and more universities and colleges interested in this. And I'm starting to get the support I need now. So within 2 months, I'll have a published research paper out. I'll start putting stuff out on LinkedIn, explaining the project more. I got to go ahead. I have a deadline for this Sunday to get most of it done.
All right.
And then the guy that actually writes the whole thing is going to help me actually co-author it too.
All right.
So he understands how important this project is. So thank you, Gene. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Brett. You're welcome. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Remember to please be kind to one another and treat each other the way you want to be treated. If you like this episode and want more of this content, please hit that subscribe button, click that thumbs up, the like button. It really helps our channel out. And ding that notification bell so you don't miss out the next time we go live and put out any new content. So that's all we have for today. Zane and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And good night, everyone.